Hey guys, hope you're having a great day. Last week I did my spring designer list for 2022 and I'm back at you with my niche spring list for 2022. You guys ready? Stick around. So I hope all is well. Welcome to my channel, Kristen Rocks Frags. My name is Kristen and it's time to talk fragrances. If this is your first time checking out my channel, please be sure to like and share this video and don't forget to subscribe. So I got a bunch of goodies on this list. I'll put the link below if you haven't seen my designer spring list for 2022. I had a great time putting that together. So I'm very excited to show you my niche choices for this year. Decided to change some things up. There might be a couple familiar ones in there, but I tried to, change some things up. So let me start with an honorable mention, and then I will jump into the main list. So for my honorable mention, I went with Cow by Zoologist. I actually did a full review on this one recently as well, so I can put that link down there as well. So definitely check it out if you haven't. And this is a really fun one. It's kind of unique because it has a, like kind of a green lactonic feel, but it's kind of floral too and sweet. It really depicts visions of, a beautiful field, maybe like a beautiful farm and the cows grazing with the little baby calf, feeding next to his mama. And it's really cute. It really depicts that beautifully. And I really enjoy this one. I do wish it performed a little bit better. So there's another one from this house that I enjoy just a little bit more, and that's why he didn't quite make it. But nonetheless, I really do enjoy this one. So check it out if you haven't. Cow by Zoologist. So here we go, starting with number 10. I decided to go with a Bortnikov, and I decided to try out Chypre du Nord. I started wearing this one early spring, actually, like when it was still kind of cool and rainy. We had kind of a yucky early spring. It was definitely kind of dreary and stuff. So it's really been only this past week or two that it's really starting to brighten up and that it's really starting to heat up too. Like this week it's been like 75. Today it's like about, around 80. So I'm loving it. You know me, I'm a spring summer girl for sure. So this one, I love this one for those cooler kind of dreary days that we were having. So it comes off a little bit different than a traditional Chypre would. Yes, you definitely get a lot of oak moss in here, but I find it kind of like sweet and sensual kind of and smoky and a little bit like of a spicy kind of feel. Maybe that's the nutmeg and the peach and the heart. But then it gets, as it dries down, it gets a little bit more smoky kind of with that birch tar and a little bit animalic too with the Siberian deer musk. And of course, the oak moss gives it that traditional Chypre feel. The top, it's a little bit bright only for a few, maybe like a minute or two, a few seconds to a minute. It has bergamot and orange on the top, but I don't really notice those so much. Immediately, I think it gets kind of deeper and sensual. And I find this one really addicting. It didn't quite last on me as long as I hoped. Otherwise, I think this would have been further up on the list. For some reason, it didn't quite perform on me like I hoped, but I still really enjoy this one, and it's really yummy. So in a way, this almost kind of reminds me of like a spring version of Sayat Nova, if you've tried that. That one's like a lot boozier and richer and deeper, but almost kind of imagine like a slightly greener spring approach to Sayat Nova, sort of. It has that same kind of smoky, sensual thing going on, but this is not quite as beastly and big and rich as that one. But so if you liked that one, you might enjoy this one. So it didn't really perform on me quite as well. If it did, I think it would have gone up higher in the list, but it's very delicious and sensual, and I think it's a really nice early spring cool spring scent. So that's number 10, Chypre du Nord by Bortnikov. So for number 9, I went with an M.Micallef. I'm kind of new to this house. I only just started exploring it last year. So I went with DesirToxic. And I got this one at Scent Explorer last year. And it was a total blind. People actually in the chat when I was gabbing with people on there, because it was still virtual last year, they were talking about how a lot of people were speaking highly of this one, and they were telling me if you really enjoy fougères and things like that, that definitely this is worth trying. And yeah, it's definitely yummy. This is another one that I like for kind of a cool spring day. I think this even works well in the rain. It kind of has somewhat of a fougère thing going on, but it does its own thing. Like, there's no lavender in here, so it's not like barbershop-y or anything, but it's kind of like spicy, fruity, and kind of yummy. It's kind of green, fruity a little bit, and spicy, I would say. Maybe a little bit musky too, because that's some musk going to dry it down, but you get a lot of oak moss in this again. So it's kind of got that maybe chypre, fougère kind of feel a little bit. Maybe more chypre because of the oak moss. But this has black currant in the heart, and that's probably what gives it that yummy kind of fruity, juicy, sweet thing going on. But you get some spice from the cinnamon. There's cannabis in here too. That could be giving it a bit of a sweetness too. Cannabis, right, kind of gives a little bit of a sweet round feel, and you can kind of pick that up. There's nutmeg at the top, some citruses. You get tonka bean as well. So, and it gets like a little bit, a tiny bit resinous with the benzoin. But I really like this one. I've worn this a couple times. I think, like I said, I prefer this more in the slightly cooler day. I'm not sure how, this might be actually a little bit too rich for the heat and a little bit too sweet. But I think this would be a great one maybe for like a spring evening, maybe as the weather warms up, how the temperature still kind of drops at night. This could be like a nice kind of sensual date night spring scent. Like, I find this one kind of sexy and alluring. So I definitely enjoy this one. A great blind buy for sure. So number 9, DesirToxic by M.Micallef. So for number 8, I decided to go with something that I just picked up, like I came in the other day. So I haven't had a lot of experience with this one, but I am really enjoying it so far. And I decided to go with MDCI, Ambre Topkapi by MDCI. And I'm liking this one. So I think it was in the winter. It was a while ago, and I ended up getting a sample with another order that I had, and I really liked it. I kept going back to it. So my husband and I got together with Max 40 not too long ago, and he was raving about this one too, and he and I were talking about it, and he had me try his. And I was like, oh man, I really do like this one. So I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to jump on one. So yeah, check out the bust. It's so cool. Really different, very unique. And it's just really pretty to have in your collection. It's kind of funny. It's actually a lot lighter than I would have expected. I thought this was going to be really heavy, like a Parfums de Marly cap or something like that. But no, it's actually like kind of light, but it's really cool. Reminds me of like statues we had in our house when I was growing up. My dad always liked the statues and all that, so pretty cool. Yep, so it reminds me of my childhood kind of. So the scent is lovely. This is one of those ones where it has a bunch of notes in there and it's hard to describe, but you definitely get your lavender in here, so it kind of has like a very aromatic, somewhat of a fougère kind of feel, right? But it gets kind of sweet and fruity with pineapple. No, it doesn't smell like the king, Mr. Aventus. It doesn't. So I know that happens every time we see pineapple. We think that, but no, don't worry about that. So it kind of gets spicy with the nutmeg and the cinnamon. There are some florals in the heart. I don't notice that too much. Let's do a spray. I just wore this last weekend, I think. This is really good. I just ate it. So yeah, it's kind of like, it's kind of fruity and bright and crisp, but it gets pretty herbal and it gets kind of spicy. Maybe it's the caraway combined with the nutmeg and cinnamon. Honestly, it almost like comes off a little bit of a cumin feel. Nothing like offensive or sweaty, but a little bit of like a bite like that. So maybe that's what the caraway is doing. But I'd say you do get the violet because it has kind of a green feel like that. Like it doesn't smell like green Irish tweed, but it almost makes you think of that a little bit with the violet going on. It gets kind of musky in the dry down. You get some nice leather in here. You do get oak moss, which I love. It gets a little bit earthy and woody as it dries down, and it kind of gets rounded and a little bit sweet too because of the amber and the raspberry. And I really like this one. It's just really, really good. I don't know if it's the most unique scent, but it's just really, really, just a really pleasant scent. It's one that's just hard to dislike. This one comes off a little bit more professional to me, so if you're looking for a nice office scent for the, warmer weather, I think this would be a great option. It starts off kind of big, but it settles down. It doesn't really last as long as I wished. I think I only got like 4 hours, maybe 5. But I think it's still just really good, just really enjoyable. And if you really just enjoy those yummy, masculine, aromatic kind of scents, they're kind of sweet a little bit. Like if you want something kind of professional, but with a little bit of playfulness and a little bit of a unique thing going on with that caraway going on and that little bit of a spice, this is definitely worth checking out. So, number 8. Amber Topkapi by MDCI. So for number 7, I decided to go with an amouage, and I went with this classy one right here, Brecken Man. And I love that bottle. It's just really pretty, isn't it? Very classy. I love that like fern kind of thing going there. Very cool. So this is a really good one. The opening is it might be a little off-putting for some because it comes off kind of spicy and a little bit earthy. So there's like a lot of clove at the top. So you gotta make sure you like clove. But then it gets more of like a traditional fougere kind of thing. You get your lavender in here. I'm guessing the earthiness is the cloves and the cypress together. And then as it dries down, it gets pretty earthy again. Yeah, it's... I guess it does kind of stay earthy, but it's not as off-putting as it is at the top. Because you do have patchouli in the dry down, so it still kind of remains a little bit earthy. But for some reason that top, it's a little bit like, whoa, okay. It might be a little intense for some people, but then it kind of gets a little bit crisp and brighter because you get some citruses, you get geranium at the heart, so it gives it like kind of like a little bit of a minty feel, which I like. And it gets kind of woody also, and it smooths out with the sandalwood and the musk too, rounds it off nicely in the dry down. Like if you like Fougere Royale by Houbigant, I think you will definitely like this because it's kind of similar to that, but it gives it a little bit of a niche twist. So like I said, it's got that little bit of an earthiness. So you gotta like earthy scents. You gotta like patchouli. But as it dries down, it gets a little bit smoother and a little bit more approachable and wearable. So just once you get through that opening, which is, it's fun and different and unique, hence why it's niche, right? So this is definitely a fun twist on that classy fougere style of scent. And it's just really good, and this one performs very well. So this is when you want to kind of be mindful of your sprays, especially on a really hot day. But I think this can work from the cool days all the way up to the warmer days of spring, as long as you go easy on the trigger as it heats up. So definitely check it out. Number 7, Brecken Man by Amouage. So for number 6, I went with a brand new house that I just started getting into. A good friend of mine gave me this as a gift, actually, because I enjoyed his so much. He actually gave me one, so that was very kind. So this is a scent by I hope I'm saying this right. Les Orchestres Parfums, and this is called Vetiver Overdrive. And it's very cool. I love that their scents are music based, so it's perfect. Gotta have a bunch of scents from this house, right? So far I only have 2, but I'm really enjoying this one. So he showed it to me and it was so cute. I tried it and he's like, "You like that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Good, here's one." And he gave me like a brand new box. It was really, really nice. So I appreciate that. So yeah, if you're a Vetiver fan like I am, I think you'll definitely enjoy this one. So you get your nice, it's kind of a nice, smooth, a little bit of a nutty vetiver, but it's got a nice sparkle because there's a good amount of bergamot in here and geranium, and then you get ambroxan too. So, but then you get some woods with the cedar and then musk. So it's kind of a simple note breakdown, but it smells like there's more going on here than that. So it's just a really fun scent. Like if you like Ball de Freak by Rado, but you want something a little bit more robust and punchy, this is a really good option. You get that nice juicy bergamot and that nice sparkle crispy feel with the geranium and the ambroxan, but then you get that really nice smooth vetiver that's kind of nutty, and then that musk kind of just rounds everything off, and it's just really good, a really fun scent. This is going to be really nice in the heat, I think, so I'm going to be wearing this one more now that the weather's warming up. But I wore this at least once or twice already when things were kind of cooler, so I want to test them out now that, it's finally starting to become spring now. And yeah, this is a really good one. So if you haven't checked out this house, definitely do. I will be picking up more scents from this house for sure. So Vetiver Overdrive by I can't say this one. Les Orchestres Parfums for number 6. So for number 5, I had to go with the Roja. You gotta have a Roja somewhere in the list, right? So I went with Apex. And I actually did a full review of this pretty recently, so definitely check it out if you haven't. So I definitely enjoy this one. It's more of a cooler spring scent, I think. Because it's kind of got a robust, punchy, full feel. It's got some density to it, and it might be a little bit too sweet and rich, I think, for the heat. Maybe if you go really easy on the sprays, I'll definitely give it a try now that it's getting pretty warm out. But I wear this quite a bit on the cooler spring days, even in the rain. I think this one is really nice and cozy. So this one I find kind of sexual. It's definitely a nice crowd pleaser. Got me some compliments. It has a lot going on in that dry down. You get the oak moss, tobacco. I kind of get a green feel to it, so you get some balsam fir and cypress patchouli. The leather's pretty prominent in here too. I'd say that's mostly what I notice. Maybe there is a little bit of a sweetness, like I said, so that could be the Illuminee resin, perhaps. And yeah, this is definitely one that's kind of hard to pick out the notes because it's just so smoothly blended. But I really like this one. Definitely a crowd pleaser. So I wouldn't say this is one of the most complex scents from Roja, but it's great to just wear something that's fun and crowd pleasing and inviting. And he did a beautiful job at doing that with this one. So definitely check it out if you haven't. Apex by Roja for number 5. So for number 4, I decided to give it something a little fancy. I decided to go with the Clive Christian. I'm still pretty new to this house. I only have 1 scent by them so far, so I definitely want to explore them more. But I really enjoy this one, and I'm talking about 1872. And oh, this is so good. This is really yummy. Like, this was hard. He almost made number 1. Like, I was really torn, but the one I picked, I think I wore a little more often. But it's hard. This one's really good. This, depending on the day, and I think if I wear this more often, it probably would have been higher on the list because it really is amazing. This is one I haven't worn too much yet. I think I'm making that mistake of shrining it because I like it so much. So I gotta wear it. But oh, it's so good. It's got that old school feel, so it's very, I guess I'd say it's kind of a fougere feel because you do have lavender in here, but it's very bright and zesty, especially at the top. You get a lot of petitgrain, lime, and grapefruit, and some other citruses as well, but those are probably the most prominent. But then you get some like spices and some green notes. You get some nutmeg and pepper. Oh, this one's really good. And at the heart, you get some nice citruses, but it's not like feminine. This one stays pretty masculine even throughout. And then the dry down, it gets more woody and earthy a little bit and sweet. With the amber, you get some Virginia cedar in the dry down, patchouli. Oh, I really like this one. This one's sexy. Like, it reminds me almost like of maybe kind of like a modern polo green. Like, that definitely has its own thing. Or maybe, you know how much I love Jewels by Dior? Think of maybe like a really big, bold, manly version, like even manlier and bigger. Like a niche version of that, maybe. Like, I wouldn't say they're the same because it has a lot of leather going on, and this doesn't, but it kind of has that same scent where it just puts a smile on your face and it just makes you want to put on a nice shirt. And this is another one that would be great for the professional setting, but you definitely want to go easy on the sprays because this thing's pretty beastly, I gotta say. Like maybe 2 to 3 sprays. I mean, if you really want to just go with 5, you know. But oh, this one's really good. This is a hard one. Part of me wishes I went with number 1, but I want to spend more time with this one too. So this is a really good one though. It's excellent. 1872 by Clive Christian for number 4. All right, you guys ready for the top 3? Here we go. So I've been really getting into the house of, I hope I'm saying this right, Agatho. And wait to see how beautiful their bottles are. And I decided to go with Fauno. Where's the front one? There he is. Isn't he beautiful? Check out that gorgeous cap. I love their presentation. It is so cool. It kind of reminds me of, if there are any musicians out there, I have the John Landgraf pedals. I have one of their Overdrive, or one of his Overdrives. Sadly, he passed years ago, but it was so cool. He would hand paint every pedal, so they're all different. I believe when I got mine, Earl Slick was actually having one of his made, the guitars for David Bowie. I think he was having one made for himself around the same time, and then we ended up connecting pretty soon after that and recorded my second album together, so that was kind of funny. It all just aligned, you know. So definitely a small world, but this kind of reminds me of like the fragrance maybe John Landgraf would have created. But it's just so cool. Every bottle, they're all painted differently. So it's just very cool. So on to the important part, the scent. Oh man, this is so good. I love this one. Man, this one's unique. So it's like woody and spicy and kind of smoky, but green too. Like, this is very unique. So you got pimento in here. I'm guessing that's what gives it that kind of spicy feel. But then you get incense that makes it smoky, along with the tobacco, of course. But then you get a lot of cedar. But then you get some greenness from the galbanum. And I don't really notice, there's ambergris, I don't notice that so much. And you get some florals and a little bit of a fruit. You get a little pear in there too. But mainly I think I get the greenness from the galbanum, the spice from the pimento, and then the smokiness, tobacco, and incense, and the wood. So it's not really a complex breakdown, but it's just really good. And this thing is beastly. Like, so far I have 3 scents from them. I'm looking to get a couple more. I'm really enjoying them. I just tried a few of their other scents down in the city at Max Aroma, actually, and I went there for the first time for the Aaron Terrence Hughes presentation. He had a fragrance launch down there, so it was really cool. Got to see some great friends like Max Fordy and Joe Sent Me. Got to, meet some very kind new people too. I saw some familiar faces from Scent Explorer, so it was great to see them again. And everyone was just so nice. We had a really great time. I didn't want to leave. But, it was dangerous. I wanted to buy everything. Yep, so I tried a bunch. I think, I always say this wrong. I think it's Seleno. I hope I'm saying that right. It's so good. But, yeah, so I think I'm going to get that one next. And I can't pronounce the other one. Giancarlo, it's like this long, the name, it's crazy. But that's supposed to be like a really nice aromatic kind of beastly woody one. I don't think they had it there at the moment, but I really want to get that one. I keep hearing good things. So, but you got to try this one out. This one I think is, if you go easy on the sprays, I think you could get away with it on a warmer spring day, but I think this really shines on the cooler days. But I have to say, I wore this pretty recently and it was starting to warm up, and I did 5 sprays and it was fine. So like when it opens, it is really beastly, but it does kind of become a little more tame, so you can get away with it. And it's just, I really enjoy this one. This was a total blind when I got it, and I'm so glad I got it. It's just really, really good. So for number 3, that's Fauno by Agatha. Okay, for number 2, this is the Zoologist I mentioned before. So I ended up loving this one more than Cow, as much as I enjoy that one. But I blind bought this one and I ended up falling in love with it. So I'm talking about Squid. And what a cool scent. Check out the bottle too. And I just love that juice color. It's so unique and fun. It's just really, really cool. Oh, I love this one. It's good. So when I first got it and I tried it on, I was a little bit scared with that ink note, right? So it has ink at the heart. And I was a little scared. You know, it was said to be an aquatic too. It's salty, which, I don't know, I thought that sounded really weird, like ink and salt together. I don't know, it sounded a little odd to me. I was a little nervous. So I tried it on, and at first I was kind of like, this is kind of odd. I'm not sure what to think of this. And as it dried down, I like couldn't stop smelling it. It was just so addicting and unique and fun. And it's just really, really good. And I ended up liking it. Like the second or third time I wore this one, it really grew on me. The first time I wasn't so sure about it. But I really have come to enjoy this one, and I've worn this a bunch this spring. So I really enjoy this one, and that's a lot if I wear something kind of close together, you know. So I'm always trying to change something, you know. I always try to wear something different every day, but I kept coming back to him. So it's kind of different. So you get some, it's kind of smoky at the top and spicy with the incense and pink pepper. There's something called amyl salicylate. Salicylate. That's how you say it. Salicylate. I'm not quite sure what that is. Yeah, honestly, I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's what kind of gives it a little bit of like a sweet, fruity feel to it, a little bit like at the top. I don't know. That one I'm not quite sure of. But then you get that ink right away. You do get some like a saltiness, but it's not overdone. Like I was so afraid that it would be like kind of, you know, nauseating, maybe like those two things competing, but not at all. It's so well blended together. Then you get some Opopanax, which I don't have too much experience with that note, but that could be what gives it kind of like a unique kind of driftwood feel, a little bit, maybe, I'm not sure. Then you get a nice amount of ambergris, the dried down, but then it gets kind of sweet and resinous with the benzoin and smooth with that musk. But mostly I get that ink, I think, the pink pepper and the incense. It's kind of spicy, and then that ambergris, of course. But I really like this one. It's surprisingly very wearable, and I think this could be a crowd pleaser. The few times I wore it, I think I was working from home, so I don't really remember going out with people at that time when I was wearing it. But I definitely want to wear this at a get together soon and see if, you know, get any compliments out of it. You know, see if anybody noticed it, because I think it's kind of a head turner because it's different, but in a good way. You know, I think it's still welcoming and inviting, and it's very addicting. It's just a very satisfying scent. It lasts a long time. I have a feeling I'll be wearing it in the summer too. It's really, really good. Like I said, it performs well. It projects, but it's not like choke you out to the point of choking you out. So I think I still do like a good amount of sprays, at least 5. So I really enjoy this one. This is definitely becoming one of my favorites of the house for sure. So number 2, we're moving through this list fast. Squid by Zoologist. And here you go with number 1. I decided to go with something really classy and yummy and green, right? That's what I think of when I think of spring anyway. And I went with none other than Mousse Illuminee by Rogue Parfums. Oh man, or just Rogue, sorry. Oh my gosh, I love this one. I'm wearing it today. It's just so good. You get a ton of oak moss in here. So it's really cool because all of his ingredients are genuine and authentic and totally natural. So you're getting the real deal here. So, oh man, yep. So you get a ton of like oak moss, tree moss. If you go to Lucky Scents, I noticed their note breakdown is a little bit different. I was just comparing Fragrantica and that. So, so yeah, it's very green and crisp. It's kind of spicy too. Maybe that's the frankincense, but I mostly get the tree moss and the green cypress. It's a little bit floral in the dry down, but not really. I do get some musk out of it, but mostly it's super green. And it's almost kind of like I would imagine this being like an amazing old school kind of soap. Just very masculine and beautiful at the same time. And oh, it's just so classy. Like if they made a soap, I would totally use it. It's just so good. And this stuff lasts a long time. I went with 5 sprays today, but you could probably get away with more. But it's just so good, especially for the first hour or two. It really projects off your skin nicely. So, but this is just a gorgeous scent. This really smells like spring in a bottle to me, and it's just so beautiful and classy. But you really gotta like those old school kind of oak moss, green kind of robust scents. But at the same time, like I said, it's kind of soapy. It's like a yummy, manly Irish spring, but like a deeper one, if you can think of that, like a darker green oak moss going on in the Irish spring. But such a beautiful scent. Definitely try it if you haven't. I think you'll love it. I really enjoy, I have, I think, at least 3 or 4 of their fragrances, and I love them all. They're just so good, but this is definitely one of my favorites. So good. So that's number 1, Mousse Illuminee by Rogue. So, what did you think of my spring list, guys? Hope you guys enjoyed it. What are you guys going to be wearing this spring? I know it's already almost going to be summer next month already. It's really flying by. But so maybe I should ask, what have you been wearing for the spring? But finally, it's really feeling like spring, you know, this past week. Now that's warming up, I'm just loving it. Beautiful sunshine. It's nice and warm. Finally get to wear shorts. Love it. So thank you so much for joining me. If you want to check out any of these scents, if you want to try before you buy, don't forget to check out our website, Parfum.com, where you can sample it and get a plethora of different sizes that you can choose what's best for you. And don't forget to use my coupon code at your checkout, KRF12. So, I can't wait to see you guys soon. Hope you have a wonderful day of smelling good. Thank you.